Welcome to I Got Something to Say. I'm Kiwi, and today we're going to be talking about elderberry, the benefits of elderberry, and I'm also going to show you how I make my supplement, my elderberry syrup for my son and I. Elderberry is one of the few medications, one of the few natural remedies that scientists have actually studied. And unlike the flu shot, elderberry extract has been proven to be effective against the flu. So what we're going to be talking about, I'm going to give you some studies, two different studies in which scientists have actually published their findings with regards to the elderberry. And like I said, later on I'm going to be showing you how to actually make it as well. So let's just jump into it. According to PubMed, Sambucol are based on a standardized black elderberry extract. Sambucol is, you'll be able to see that, you'll be able to find that in CVS, Walgreens, any drugstore. It's on the cough medicine aisle. You probably paid it absolutely no attention, but it's there. And that's elderberry extract, okay? That's the Sambucol is a scientific name. They are natural remedies with antiviral properties, especially against different strands of influenza virus. Sambucol has shown to be effective in vitro against 10 strands of influenza virus. In a double-blinded, placebo-controlled, randomized study, Sambucol reduced the duration of flu symptoms to 3 to 4 days. Now, as you can see, elderberry is effective on 10 different strands of influenza virus. I think the flu shot protects against maybe 3, and they're literally grasping at straws. They're guessing and hoping that the flu viruses that they put into that flu shot is actually the flu virus that this year's flu will actually have, one of the 3. I think it's 3. But as you can see, just that alone, elderberry fights against 10 different influenza strands. And that's just according to PubMed. Now, let's go to another one. The Journal of International Medical Research, they concur that elderberry extract is a proven treatment, referencing a different study. Elderberry has been used in folk medicine for centuries to treat influenza, colds, and sinus issues, and has been reported to have an antiviral activity against influenza and herpes simplex. Okay. We investigated the efficiency and safety of oral elderberry syrup for treating influenza A and B infections. 60 patients aged 18 to 54 years old suffering from influenza-like symptoms for 48 hours or less were enrolled in this randomized, blind, placebo-controlled study during the influenza season of 1999 to 2000 in Norway. Patients received 15 milliliters of elderberry or placebo syrup 4 times a day for 5 days and recorded their symptoms using a visual analog scale. Symptoms were relieved on average of 4 days earlier, and use of rescue medication was significantly less in those receiving elderberry extract compared to those receiving the placebo. Now, rescue medication will be that to help treat fever and congestion and achy pains and all of that. So with them taking the elderberry syrup, rescue medication had been decreased. And they were on average feeling much better in 4 days. Now, they talk about elderberry being the nature's Tamiflu. And I don't know if you guys know of the side effects of the Tamiflu. I've heard people say that their kids have had night terrors and suicidal thoughts. That is just next level side effects to have for a medication that you're giving your baby for the flu. Like the flu. And now you got to deal with night terrors and suicidal thoughts. Now, wait a minute. Use elderberry syrup. Let me scare you a little bit more because I'm scared. So why not pass on the scaredness? Why not pass on the anxiety? Might as well, right? So let's talk about the avian flu, the bird flu. So they actually studied the avian flu, and this is what they found when they used elderberry extract. So it says, this is especially important with something like the avian flu, which according to the CDC has a mortality rate of 60%. Do you hear me? Over half of the birds died, okay, with the avian flu worldwide. At this point, the avian flu is rarely transmissible to or between humans. The fear is that a mutation of the virus could change that, instigating a deadly pandemic. Alarmingly, the avian virus has been successfully mutated by scientists, causing public outcry that this research could be weaponized in the future. Why would they do that? 60% mortality rate? 60% mortality rate, and they playing with it? Okay, so they mutated it. So that's out there. We already know that. So all it takes is for it to get into the wrong person's hands and poof, deadly pandemic on our hands. But according to a study by Z.K. Rones in 1995, black elderberry was proven to be effective against the avian flu, specifically the Panama B strain. So there again, I want you guys to definitely try to take this herbal medication. I know a lot of people are very weary of trying the herbal medicines. Just try it. Of course, talk to your doctors at first and make sure that the elderberry syrup won't negatively interact with any medications that you're currently taking. Just like how you would with any type of over-the-counter medications, just to make sure that it doesn't mess with your blood pressure. And just like you would take an over-the-counter medication with no qualm, you won't even hesitate. A lot of people won't even hesitate of buying the over-the-counter medication. Just like you won't do that. That was made in a plant, and you won't even hesitate. But let's try taking something that is made from a plant that can actually help you, that has been scientifically proven to help you. And you know the scientists aren't going to always be talking about natural remedies. Use the ones that they actually studied, okay? I use the ones that they haven't studied. But definitely, if you are weary about anything, if you're scared, use the ones that scientists have actually studied, and elderberry is one of them. So just stay tuned. We're going to jump straight into making this elderberry syrup. Get started. I already have two cups of water, and I'm going to add the third cup. Here's a third cup of water. I'm going to add the half a cup of dried elderberries. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of whole cloves. We're going to do a teaspoon of ground ginger. And a teaspoon of cinnamon. Gonna put in half a cup of orange juice. And 3/4 of a cup of honey. Now, what we're going to do now is, come on now. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to let this go on a low boil, maybe a low boil for about 30 minutes, 20-30 minutes. It's going to reduce by half. We want it to reduce, the liquid to reduce by half.
20 minutes later.
As you can see, we have the low boil, and it is, I would say that's halfway reduced. We have been letting it simmer on a low boil for about 25 minutes. And you can see that it has reduced by half. There is the top line of where we started. There's the top line of where we started, and we're about halfway down. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to let this cool off so that I can strain it and get all of the whole cloves and the dried elderberries out of there, smush it up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let it cool off, and so that I can strain it and store it away, and we'll be ready to go. So now that we have our elderberry juice exactly where we want it, it's reduced halfway. What I do now is I smush some of the berries and get all of the juice, as much juice as I can get out of them. I just smush them right before I start to strain it and squeeze, get another good squeeze out of it. So yeah, this is what I do prior to straining it. And this is what it looks like. As you can see, there's all of the elderberries and the cloves. You want to take that. That's all goodness. I just wanted to show you my starting process. I don't have, my baby isn't up, so I got to do it this way. You can do a strainer, but of course, let me just show you a little bit how I do it. I have a mason jar and cheesecloth, rubber band, and I'll let it drip. And then I'm going to squeeze it. I'll show you guys how I do that. Okay, so now that I have it all strained, I'm not sure if you can see it really well, but now that I have it all strained, I'm going to take my cheesecloth off. I'm going to really squeeze the cheesecloth to get all of the extra juice and all of the goodness that's inside of that. So as you can see, there's the elderberries, the cloves. Maybe you'll be able to see it a little better over here. The elderberries, the cloves, everything, all of that goodness in there. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to use some as a compost, but you can also use some as a tea. So I'm going to keep some so that I can drink and sip on some tea. Okay, some elderberry tea. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to use some of those for some tea. And how I do that is I just put some of it inside of my little tea strainer, and I will just let it seep. You know, I'll let it seep inside of my water and have me some good old nice elderberry tea if I'm not feeling so well. But what I will do with this is I will take this, me and my baby will take it every day to help us prevent flu. If we feel like we're getting sniffles, we'll take it up to 4 or 5 times a day, along with another homemade medicine that I make as well. And we typically only take it during the winter time. Sometimes we take it in the summer, but we definitely take it whenever we feel any sniffles or anything. But that's that. You just get your cheesecloth or some type of cloth. You can use a strainer and just push your spoon down in it. This just makes it a little bit better for me because it takes out as much as the little particles of anything as it can, more than a strainer, because I have used a mesh strainer and I still got some cloves in there and don't nobody got time for that. So there we are, and I'm just gonna squeeze that, and that's the elderberry juice. So here is the finished product. Good old elderberry syrup. This makes 2 cups. And here is the, the remnants of the goodness, my elderberries. And as I stated, I will use this as a tea. Juju and I drink every now and then. We'll drink some hot tea of elderberries. And whatever I don't use of this season, I'm going to just compost. So there it is. Very, very, very good. And it's extremely healthy for you. Dr. Sebi said so. So now that you see how to make the elderberry syrup, hopefully you will give it a try. It's not that hard. But if you don't want to, definitely just go ahead and please just pick up the sambucol out of the grocery store or CVS. You really, really, really need to pick this up. It will be very beneficial for you and your family. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, everything. Subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.